Well. It was worth the wait. Hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today, I'm going to be reviewing The Walking Dead Season 10 finale. Yes, we've waited 6 months for this episode, and personally for me, I think it was worth the wait. I am so tired right now. I managed to see the episode very early this morning, and I've only had a couple hours sleep, but hey, I'm doing it for you guys because this is what I'm going to do for you guys. This video should have gone out on the day of. This video should be out on the day that the episode normally comes out. So, but this is being recorded on a couple of days before because I managed to get to see the episode early thanks to AMC Premiere. Or AMC Plus, or whatever they call it now. But I am going to be going deep into spoiler territory for this episode, so if you haven't seen the episode yet, I recommend that you click off this video in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Excellent, so whoever has stayed for this part of the video is here for the actual review. I will be going into some spoilers, but first off, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do so, and don't forget to hit that bell icon to receive notifications for when I next upload. I will be doing Fear the Walking Dead reviews and The Walking Dead World Beyond reviews because I cannot wait for this show. I mean, I've waited for The World Beyond for a little bit, and I can't wait to see what Fear Season 6 brings to the table. But this isn't about Fear or The World Beyond. I'm here to talk about the season finale of Season 10 now. The opening minutes, yeah, we're all quite familiar with the opening minutes. We've probably all watched it about 50 times, seeing what's going to happen and getting our hype ready for this episode. And obviously this episode does mark the return of Maggie, played by the brilliant actress Lauren Cohan, who has not been seen since Rick's final episode, so who knows what they're going to bring to the table. But, I mean, the episode does start quite clear, and this episode does have a lot of its horror roots in this episode. I mean, Beta is technically trying to fight his mental illness, but also wanting to kill everyone for Alpha's death, because Alpha was the only one he could really relate to, and just seeing him trying to pull every trick in the book to try and kill them is brilliant, because the plan that our group concocts is to lure them away during music and to have them essentially roll off a cliff. And this plan is sort of a remix from the comics. So in the comics, Beta unleashes the Horde on Alexandria, and everyone is still there. We've got Rick, Andrea, Negan, Michonne, and loads of all other kinds of survivors, but they infest Alexandria and clog the whole thing up. Rick and Negan do have a heart-to-heart in the books, and I feel like that was slightly adapted for Negan and Daryl in 1014, but I mean, we can't have it beat for beat, unfortunately. But I mean, there are little tidbits, and everyone gets their sort of moment to shine in a sense. So Negan was originally going to be going out with Daryl and his group to lure them away, but he said no because that he was on the top of the Whisperer's kill list, same as Lydia, hence why they're not going. And as they head out, you do feel like this sort of tension, because a lot of the promo material for this episode was that they're not all going to make it, so we were all on our seats wondering who was going to die, who was going to live, but we all kind of knew that Daryl and Carol were going to live because they've got their own spin-off show, which, I mean, does kind of diffuse some of the tension and a bit plot divisive in a certain part of this episode, which I'll get into later. But I mean, they get through the Horde, but unfortunately do lose a character in Beatrice. They slowly kill some Whisperers on the way out, and I have to admit, I have to give props to Greg Nicotero and the team that have to make the Walkers kill people, because with some of the Whisper kills, and sadly Beatrice's death, who was from Oceanside, they make it really fucking gory. I mean, they literally rip legs, rip arms off, and the screams of them actually being eaten alive are so genuine and so scary. And you're thinking, what is going on? Like, the Walkers have been alive for a long time, and they are just like, at this point they are starving. They just want to rip them open and just eat. It's basically like Americans in McDonald's. So, but I have to admit, the gore is perfect. The tension is definitely held well. But then, as like Beta is fighting his mental illness and hearing walkers talk, I think at one point, just as the herd is about to turn, she goes, "Time for the end." And then, as the walkers turn around, he hears another one saying, "It's our end." And I can tell Beta just wants to live. He just wants to slaughter them all. So he has to follow protocol and follow the walkers, because if he gets spotted, he's dead. And I mean, there is scenes in the tower at the hospital where Gabriel is sort of like preparing to sacrifice himself, because the Whisperers are slightly making their way up to the building, and obviously they've placed traps to keep everyone from being safe, and they have to lure the walkers away, then evacuate everyone, and then they're good. But I mean, who knows what they're going to do. I mean, I thought Gabriel was going to die in this episode. It definitely felt like it was setting it up, but hey, it is what it is. So, Judith does get a few moments to shine in this episode, but obviously we're all just waiting on what's going to happen, who's going to die, who's going to survive, and all that stuff. But then as we cut to the night and the walkers are distracted by the music, the Whisperers do stop the car, which, I mean, kudos for them. They use walkers as sort of shields, so sort of like how Aaron and his team had the shields for the Battle of Hilltop, which I thought was quite cool, because they're like, oh, this is our version of your weapon. And it's sort of like a medieval battle in a sense, but they try and kill some of the Whisperers, but sadly the wagon is stopped, so they have to sort of get out of the way of the walkers, and then they're eventually turned back around. But Daryl has the ingenious idea of luring them back in and killing all the Whisperers to then draw them back to the herd. And I forgot to mention this, but as Beatrice died in the car park of the hospital, Lydia, wearing Alpha's mask, grabs the bag that they need and is with the group now. So, I mean, she's really, like, she sort of became the Alpha in a sense. But obviously Beta wouldn't have agreed with that, because she left. But then, I mean, it gets so intense. We're like seeing Whisperers getting killed off one by one. Beta's wondering, where is everyone? And then you just hear one of the Walker voices in his head saying, "Follow the Alpha." And he notices Lydia in Alpha's mask, and that's when he starts to go nuts, starts getting ready to kill her. And then we hear, "Hey, shithead," from Negan himself. I was waiting for this moment, and a lot of comic fans were, for the massive Negan versus Beta fight, but unfortunately that isn't the case with this episode. And I felt like that's gonna divide the community in a sense, because a lot of comic fans were like, yes, Negan versus Beta, and believe it or not, that that issue that from the comic is the very first issue I ever picked up. It was issue 159, it was halfway through the Whisperer War, and it was Negan versus Beta, and I loved that scene. But I mean, I was happy with what we got. It was a sort of homage, and I feel like they sort of gave Daryl the Negan fight back in season 9, but I mean, I'm taking what I can get, and I know that's going to divide the community a lot with that scene. But Daryl does help Beta, or not help Beta, help Negan defeat Beta. Beta's about to kill Negan, saying this is for Alpha, and then Daryl comes in, slashes, and then stabs him in his eyes. And I mean, we are treated to some flashback scenes that we've already seen of the "We are the end of the world" speech, and then Beta is ultimately consumed. And to be honest, this is so much better than they did in the comic. I feel like Beta's death was like the little girl in season 1. It was just like, bang, done. So in the books, it's Jesus and Aaron that kill Beta, and it's really shit. They literally just shoot him in the chest. He says, "I have no name," and then just plops dead, which was really shit and very anticlimactic for a very scary villain in the Walking Dead comic. And I mean, this show did it so much better. And obviously, throughout Ryan Hurst's time on the show, no one has actually seen his face. So when he's finally getting devoured, they finally pull off his mask. They pull off the alphabet first, and then they pull the beta side, and he sees his face. He's like, he has his eyes, like, he's been stabbed in the eyes. He's not screaming. He is smiling, blood gushing down his mouth. He is accepting it. He is accepting that he is food. And it was perfect. It's a perfect death scene for a perfect character. I know I'm going to be a little biased and I will die on this hill, but I think Beta was probably one of the best antagonists in the show. He was ruthless, relentless. He was far more better than the Governor than he was back in his day. And Negan has sort of become an anti-hero. So, I mean, from the time of season 7 and 8 of an antagonist, I think Beta does slightly beat Negan in the villain department, because Negan was like, oh, I want you to produce for me and not straight up kill them. But Beta was like, I will straight up fucking kill you. But the end of the Whisperers is now, and they make it to the cliff. Carol is ready to sacrifice herself, but is saved by Lydia. And all the walkers fall off the cliff, which is adapted from the books as well. They lead the herd off the shore, but they use horses, and it's Andrea who does it. Which sadly does lead to her getting bitten by trying to save Eugene. Because Eugene and the crew at this point are still heading towards Stephanie, but Eugene suffers a bike injury, gives up all hope, but then Ezekiel motivates him to keep going. Good old Zeke, the good old king, he's gone through a lot this season. I mean, to think, in the span of 16 episodes, Ezekiel lost his kingdom, got a divorce, got diagnosed with cancer, and he's now finding a purpose to live for by finding Stephanie in the Commonwealth. And I have been and like, I forgot to mention this, but Gabriel does fight off some Whisperers, but he nearly dies, but then he is saved by the masked survivor that we found in the opening minutes of the episode, and saved by none other than Maggie, which, I mean, brilliant. Good, we finally brought Maggie back, and she's awesome still, yes? But, I mean, it's good to have Lauren Cohen back on the show. I know a lot of people were like, oh, why has she left the show? But she left to do a show called Whiskey Cavalier, and that show got cancelled after one season, so she decided to come back, which I'm glad she did. But then, as the war is won, everyone reunites. Maggie has a moment with Judith, no words are said, and you can just tell that there is so much emotion in that scene, and you're thinking, Maggie has not seen Judith since she was a baby, and she's now grown up by 6-7 years, and it's beautiful, to be perfectly honest. It did touch my heart very well. But then we learn that Connie, who has been missing since episode 9, is alive. Yes. I think I was glad that they included the Connie scene where she was actually alive, because I felt like if they left it till season 11 or the additional 6 episodes that we're getting in early next year, I feel like the fans would be pissed off. They'll be like they'll be speculating for months, like, where's Connie? Is Connie dead? Is she a walker? Did she go off the cliff? And stuff like that. So I'm glad that they addressed it, and she is saved by Virgil. So my theory is that when Connie and Virgil reunite with our group, Virgil's going to tell everyone about Michonne and Rick. And saying, oh, Michonne went off to go find some guy called Rick, and that's going to touch Daryl, Carol, Maggie, and everyone else. That's going to hurt them in the feels, because they know that a man who has basically built a new world for them, who sacrificed himself on a bridge to save their lives, is still breathing. But where is he? Why hasn't he come back? Which I feel like they're going to go into in World Beyond, but I mean, I'm going to make a separate video for World Beyond, my review for the premiere episode on that. But I mean, I think, personally, my favourite part of this episode has to be its ending. People are going to wonder, why is the ending your favourite scene? Well, Eugene, Princess, Yumiko, and Ezekiel finally reach the train yard, and they are, like, Stephanie is not about. They're scared that they've missed the window. It's completely botched. We fucked it up. But Ezekiel gives a speech saying that we will find more communities to trade with, we will rebuild the world to how it was. And Princess just says, "You're fucking horny, mate. Just get some pipe and you're good." That's all he was trying to do. But I mean, it's a funny moment, but then the lights come up and Commonwealth soldiers are here. I have waited so long for the Commonwealth to be introduced into the TV show. When I made a video back when, I remember it was just some cheesy little video on my phone, and it was introducing the Commonwealth story arc, and I was like, yes, New World Order is coming in, it's finally here, we're going to have Stormtroopers. And a lot of people keep asking me, why are they called Stormtroopers? And I feel like it's primarily because the armour is just white, and the community's like, yeah, they look like Stormtroopers from Star Wars. So I call them Stormtroopers, and they are the Commonwealth Army, and they're here. They tell their group to put the guns down, which is directly adapted from issue 173, and that's basically how the episode ends. It leaves it on a big cliffhanger of wondering what's going to happen to our group, who is this new army, and a lot of us know what's going to happen, and I simply cannot wait to get to season 11. But that's my quick sort of review for it. But I mean, I was hyped for the finale, and I thought it was quite enjoyable. I know a lot of people aren't going to feel the same thing. They felt like, was it really worth the wait? But I think, personally, it does, because everyone is on top form. The return of Maggie is here, the introduction of the Commonwealth, and the end of the Whisperers the era of the Whisperers is over. So we've now got the Commonwealth, and seeing what they're going to bring to the table, and how, if they're actually going to do their class system in the show. So who knows? We're going to see what happens there. But I'm going to give this episode a solid 9 out of 10. I mean, there are some bits that I'm a little disappointed about, like the Negan Beta fight, and just maybe the lack of main character deaths. But then, I mean, I don't write for the show, and I'm happy to see some characters still breathing, or curious to see if they'll actually survive the final season or not. So who knows? But I'm now going to go ahead and record my review for The Walking Dead World Beyond. You'll be able to see it here, and be able to subscribe to the channel here. So don't forget to leave a like and a comment in the comment section below. Please subscribe if you haven't done already. Don't forget to hit that bell icon to be notified when I next upload. I'll see you soon.